Flash, we saw some physicality last night, a chippy game, and now that you're done with the series with Florida, looking back on it, talk before the season with all these games interdivision that there might be some of that throughout the season. How do you think it played out in that series, and how do you see the rest of the series with Tampa playing out in that regard?
I think you end up playing 8 games. I would say there's probably moments within that stretch of it being more heated than other moments, and moments within games of it being more heated than other moments. I don't know that it's something that is, feels like it's necessarily an every game thing in any of these series, but we've certainly had moments of it. In the first game series against Columbus, I think we had a tussle at the end of game 1. That didn't necessarily carry over to the games after that. It just depends. So obviously, the closer time period you play each other, the more chance for that kind of stuff to happen. And last night it happened a couple times.
When you look at the league overall, the top 12 teams are all within 7 points of each other, with roughly 20 games, give or take, for everybody left. How do you see that playing out on the ice as far as the competition level and bringing the best out of your teams well down the stretch?
Looking at the league's a difficult thing because the divisions, nobody plays each other. So we're just kind of certainly paying attention to the rest of the league, but we're really living in our own division, and I just know that we're battling to get better every day as a group. We're battling to improve and take steps forward. We want to show we're a better team than our current record. There's a competitiveness in that for sure. There's a pride factor in that. We're going to play a lot of teams that are battling for tons of points, and it should make for competitive hockey down the stretch.
What are your thoughts of the format this season?
I like the scheduling. I like coming into Tampa and playing twice. I like going to Florida and playing twice. I like that a lot. I don't know that you could go a full season and only play within your division. I don't, in terms of it ultimately doesn't have the same equity as a schedule that's a little more balanced, where you're playing other teams. You have a better chance of, I think, finding out who the better teams are. If all the divisions were equal every year, I guess it would be fine. But to be honest with you, Trevor, I haven't put tons of thought into it. I don't get paid to make those decisions.
Thanks, Flash.
Yeah.
Next question, Ted Colfin, Detroit News.
Hey, Jeff, we kind of talked about all those young big guys like Raz and Giovanni, and throw Ernie into the mix too last night. Well, going forward, how positive is that to have size like that in the lineup? I know speed, everybody talks about speed and quickness in the game these days, but I don't think you're going to pass, any coach would pass up size like that either out in today's game.
Size still matters. I think there's different ways to separate yourself. One is through speed, one is through size, one's probably through competitiveness and hockey smarts. And if you don't have, if you have all three of those, obviously you're a special player. And if you don't have any of them, you'll have a hard time creating any kind of offense. And I would also say size defensively definitely matters. You're just bigger, longer. It'd be like an NBA defender that's long, and they're just hard to play against. And so you ultimately want good players in those big packages. And I think in the guys you mentioned, I think Ross has taken real steps forward as a player. There's no doubt about that. I thought Smitty came in and did a good job, and his battle will be to keep it at that consistent level. When he gets in the ozone, he's a load. He's that people can't. He's a hard guy to check. He's got pretty good hands in those areas. He knows to go to the net, and he's a real load in the offensive zone. And so is Rass. And so Earns has done the same thing. And all of a sudden, you're just a bigger team, stronger team. You're more effective at the other team's net. And where it hopefully really shows is against a decor like Tampa's, where they're big, they're strong. I know they're missing a few guys, but where they're big, they're strong, and they're hard to get to the cage against. Hopefully those big guys can have an impact.
Does those things kind of cycle a little bit in the league too? Like I remember when the Kings and the Ducks were, ruling, winning cups or whatnot. Everybody had to be, big guys like that. And then some of these faster teams, skillful teams come into play. It's like, oh, it is a copycat league in a way too, isn't it?
Well, I think it is, but we probably get too wrapped up in that. Ultimately, you got to be great at what you do and who you are, and it's just, that's true of a player, and that's true of a team, and it's probably true of an organization, and everybody has different take on what you want to be, and what you can't do is be in between, and some of it is what you have at your disposal, as a hockey team, and when you're a big team like if you start acquiring a lot of big players, you can be a little more of a grind team. You can grind in the ozone a little bit more and not have it be a track meet. So then you're playing to your strengths of that size. So, I think there's a difference between size up front and size on D. There are very few teams that are really, really good defensively that don't have pretty good size on D. I think you can be good offensively in a number of ways, but on defense, most of the teams that are good have some size on D.
Did Bernie skate today? Did he play?
Yeah, Bernie did skate today with the team. Bobby Ryan skated with the team. Gagne skated with the team. So, those guys are all, like I said before, think skating with the team is an important step. Where they're all at, I don't know yet. That, even regarding tomorrow, Bernie will not be available tomorrow for sure. I don't know on the other two yet.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yep.
Next question from Sebastian Noren, NHL.com.
Hey, Coach. I want to ask you, with the trade deadline approaching here, do you think more teams are going to look to get business done early due to the COVID restrictions with quarantine and so forth?
It's a good question. One I don't know the answer to. I don't know that there's been lots of activity yet. Sometimes it seems like, as when the activity starts, it kind of snowballs. But I would certainly think that the quarantine it makes it different, and you probably want to get. There's a balance between the salary cap implications and in getting your player adjusted to your team and getting them with you as soon as you can. And the later you wait, the lesser impact on the salary cap, and the later you wait, the less time the player has to really get adjusted to his team. So, we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next up, Max Bultman with The Athletic.
Hey, Jeff, just wanted to ask a quick follow-up. You mentioned the game not always having to be a track meet, and I'm wondering, with younger players, is that a little bit of an adjustment sometimes? Sometimes they're coming from leagues where that is the goal, is to have a track meet, because often you got the best players.
Well, I think the adjustment isn't necessarily whether it's a track meet or not, but that would potentially play into it. It's understanding that you can't play 50-50 hockey as you move up levels. And as you said, most of the time when you're coming from levels where you were the best player, so you're okay with 50-50 hockey because you'll take your 50% chances over the opponents because you're the better player. And as you get to this level, there are very few guys that can say that. Even the guys that are great, they might only be marginally better than the guy lined up across from them. And then as a hockey team, there aren't any teams really anymore that are so much better than other teams that they can play 50-50 hockey. So I think the adjustment is understanding that efficient hockey wins. What is that? That is learning to attack when the opponent's vulnerable and learning to live another day when they're not. And we've talked lots about that as a group, both internally and with you guys. That's a learning process for us, and it's still the process for our guys that are 25, 26 years old. To just learn that maturity level. And the quicker you can learn it where your skills are still at a high level, the quicker you get to winning. And so, it's something we've continued to stress, and hopefully our guys can continue to learn.
Thanks.
That's it for us today. Thanks, everyone.